Superman, that Clark Kent, anybody with half a brain would be like, "Oh, you're Superman because you got take your glasses off. Oh, you look like Superman. This is stupid." Yeah, you guys want to talk about comic books for a minute?
No. So
yeah, we can do an intro.
How do we want to do the intro? Do we want to say like, "Hi, thanks for listening to this is probably comics."
Let's throw a couple things around. Let's just spitball.
Welcome to Mayhap Comic. I'm Lord Lexington.
It's not
Lord
bad.
Lexington.
It's not bad.
That's a good one.
Hi, and welcome to Probably Comics. I'm Thomas.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Link.
And we're gonna nerd out for a little bit.
Hide your daughters.
Hide your kids. Hide your wife.
Lock up your daughters, because we're about to nerd all over them. So did you guys read Schism?
Yeah, just finished this week. Yeah.
Peanut butter sandwiches.
You just finished it like a minute ago.
No, whatever. But
And you didn't read the Jen Hope.
I read
inserts.
1.
You both read 10.
Yeah, I did not read
Neither
11.
of you read 11. Okay. So if you're for some reason not following Schism, it's basically a 5-issue story arc that's explaining basically what's going to happen to the X-Men over the next couple months. Is that they're going to split into 2 teams. Cyclops is going to lead one team. Wolverine's going to stop me if I'm wrong, but Cyclops is going to lead one team. Wolverine's going to lead another team of people who he may or may not have actually wanted to come with him, because he seemed like he was just like, whatever, anybody that wants to get on the plane, just come on.
And like there was a mess of them.
There was quite a bit.
And Quentin Quire.
Tied up and bound and gagged, right?
Yep.
Wait,
oh yeah.
So he did go with them.
Yeah, he was the guy in there.
Wolverine took Kid Omega.
Yeah. Yeah, back to Charles Xavier's original mansion.
And
right.
Which is destroyed.
What is Kid Omega's power set?
He's an incredibly powerful psychic.
Oh, yeah, and
Okay.
he's the one at the beginning that walked into the UN.
Oh, yeah. Pink hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally.
Quentin Quire.
He screwed all this shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is the
started
catalyst for the schism. And so, spoiler alert: we're basically going to assume that you have read it.
Yeah,
if you're
if
listening
you
to
haven't
this.
read, if you haven't read any of the books that have come out in the last week or month, I would turn this off.
Stop listening.
Or if you hate the X-Men, Albert.
Is Albert a DC guy? Seems like
No, he
is.
just hates the X-Men with
Why?
a fiery passion.
There's just too much. There's too much.
Cause.
I feel that the X-Men's too much. Like
I love the X-Men.
I'm starting to learn to love the X-Men.
It's too much.
And it's because my friend Tom is here. I will say that. I'll be happy to admit that.
Well, like I was reading at the end of Schism, I was looking on the plane. I was like, okay, so who's on whose team? Looking at the plane, I was like, I don't know who any of these characters are.
They're all the kids that were living on Utopia.
Not all the kids, because like Hope went with her dad.
Yeah, but it looks to me like I saw
Heidi was there for sure.
They didn't really lay out Scott's team, but they did lay out, or they
laid
showed
out all the
everyone
teams.
that was sitting in the Blackbird to go with Wolverine.
As our resident X-Men guy, did you like the end of Schism, the way that it stopped?
So here's my thing. I think that when I found out it was happening, I was already on Wolverine's side. You know,
You fucking sympathizer.
Well, I mean,
I
hard
hate
not to be.
Scott Summers. He's such a dick. Like I really don't like him as a person.
He's the
ever. The only time he was ever challenged for his leadership, Storm beat him without her powers. Like fucking Cyclops sucks. He's terrible. So, I already kind of knew where it was going. I was really interested to see what would happen in the fight, because that was going to be the big thing. They're going to have a fight and they're going to split.
Fight was long.
Fight was really long.
Fight was
really,
basically a book, because it was half of 4
wish
and
they
half
had
of
done
5.
more.
Yeah, I wish that all of 4 had been the fight.
It was close.
I wanted to see Cyclops die. And if nothing else,
harsh.
I agree. Like on principle, I think that Wolverine is right. I think sending children into battle, because that is like at the crux of what the X-Men are about. It's that they're doing it so that future generations of mutants don't have to go through what they went through. That is the point. The point is to say that we are changing the future for the better. Because when the X-Men first started in the first class, Jean Grey's 19, 18. She just goes to college. Warren's the oldest. He's 19. Cyclops is 16. They can all drive. And that's about as old as they get, they can drive.
That's as far as Stan Lee thought ahead. I just want to make sure they can.
Yeah, make sure they can drive. But because of that,
It'd be silly if they can't drive. I mean, what kind of comic book would that be?
But they end up, putting their lives on the line, fighting people like Magneto, fighting the Sentinels that have been hunting them for most of their lives, like doing just these insanely fucking stupid things for kids to be doing. Anyway, I think that on principle I agree with Wolverine, even though knowing ahead of time, like I was probably going to end up agreeing with him. I think that he's right, and I like the way that they've developed his relationship with ID. Like I was talking to you guys earlier about, it's very him with Kitty Pryde.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same sort of thing, and I've always loved Kitty Pryde, and I've always really liked Wolverine's relationship to her as sort of almost like a father figure while she was at the school.
Yeah.
I also think that it's incredibly poetic what they're doing with the school. I love
Bringing
the
the school
idea
back?
of Wolverine going to Westchester and starting Jean Grey's school,
And
like naming the school after her.
And if it
I hadn't
were
heard that.
Cyclops, it would be so trite and so put on.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's Wolverine, I really am growing to love that character. I mean,
Cyclops is the most selfish prick ever.
well, here's the thing. I'm gonna take what you said and
Flip it and reverse it.
Well, yeah. So basically, yeah, you say that Cyclops is a what were your words?
A selfish prick.
Selfish prick. I see Wolverine is this kind of personality who can get on a 1-to-1. He can be like, I care about you, blah, blah, blah. And this is just playing devil's advocate. Cyclops seems like he's always got this big picture in his head. Like, if we're going for Cyclops, if we're on Cyclops' team right now, or if we're on his side, he's got the big picture in his head. He is worried about what is right in front of him and what's going to be, quote unquote, best for everyone. Wolverine really wants you to understand that you're friends with Wolverine and that you're one of Wolverine's buddies. But Cyclops isn't always very nice. He's just he's focused on whatever
on the mission.
I
On
feel
the
like
team,
Cyclops
on
is
the-
more of an Xavier than Wolverine can ever be.
Well, and if nothing else, because for most of Scott's adolescent life, he was essentially raised by Xavier.
Right.
And in some rights, I think that Logan's take on, let's call it Xavierism, their philosophy on the mutant condition. I think that because Wolverine was basically rehabilitated, like his life was completely and utterly turned around by Xavier. He stopped being a nomad with no idea who he is or where he's from, and Xavier gave him a purpose and really turned him
Xavier
into what
or
he became.
Xavier?
I always say I think the X-Xavier, like Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
I think it's
His
Xavier.
middle name is X.
No.
Starts with an X.
No.
No, it's Xavier as opposed to
Xavier.
Okay.
Because why would you take
'Cause
the
they're the
X?
X-Men, right?
You want to put the word X in as many sentences as possible.
That's why his wheels have X's on them.
Yeah, but I mean, his name could still start with an X and just be Xavier, and then
it could, but it doesn't.
So okay, so
Professor X, man.
So let's
Hey,
let's
Tyler,
do.
3-2.
Fuck you. Damn it! You made it an insult, you fucker.
You piece of shit.
Fucker. You took it and you fucking switched you fucking flipped the script, man. You flipped the script. So, overall, let's get close now that we've kind of got an analysis of it, which I enjoyed listening to. It's great. It's great radio. Let's get a quick. I kind of wanted to do maybe like a 30-second, 1-minute review
Of Schism.
of Schism. Yeah,
What's the twit review? Or you mean just like
you could do the Twitter. You want to do Twitter review?
let's explain the arc in like
No. Like you
2 sentences or less?
think what you thought about it in like 3 to 5 sentences, in one academic paper or less.
in one dissertation or less. What did you think about X-Men Schism?
Like, what do you like? Like, we'll talk about another big event here in just a second.
Yeah.
But do you like the way that they're basically Schism? Like for me, Schism's a jumping off point. I've never read. Yeah. I mean, I read Uncanny X-Men when I was a kid, and like when I got it from Pizza Hut when they were fighting Arcade. But
oh God,
Spider-Man and the X-Men.
Yeah, and Arcade's Revenge, great Super Nintendo game. Anyway, so like I'm reading. I love X-Force. X-Force was like the reason I got back into comic books was because Thomas was like, X-Force, gotta read it.
Because Rick Remender is kicking
And
everyone's
indeed,
ass.
I had to read it and read it and love it. And now I pull over like 20 books. But
Just
yeah, just 20. So I like to think of Schism as a jumping off point for people who want to get in on the X universe but don't necessarily know where it is, because point one, let's face it, doesn't work.
Right, and these closed universe sort of events, like say Spider Island, X-Men Schism, Fear itself not so much because it's a Marvel universe event.
Yeah, it's everybody.
Yeah, I think those closed universe events have the best way to go about getting back in. I think, like, because Katie, my girlfriend, has never read a comic, like I think Sandman and like some slave labor graphic stuff like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and I Feel Sick. So I'm trying to get her into superhero comics, and so I was like, just pick a hero. And she was like, well, Spider-Man. I was like, well, what do you fucking know? They just started an event.
Everybody's doing an event.
Yeah, so I'll go pick up Spider Island. What do you know? First 3 pages of issue 666, the prelude to Spider Island, are catch-up. It's, hey, here's what you know about me from the cartoon you watched when you were a kid. Here's what's changed.
Yep.
And that is it's just like, bam.
It's pure Stan Lee.
Yeah, it's just like straight jump in. Every comic is someone's first comic. And so they set you up for this whole event. Like, you don't, I never read Infested Road to Spider Island. I haven't read Spider-Man since Carnage. Like, Maximum Carnage was the arc. Like, that was the last time.
Arc.
Yeah, that was the last issue of Amazing Spider-Man I bought until issue 666. And so I was excited to see it have a cool jumping point. And I think that's what I like about these closed universe, like the Spider-Man universe or the X universe. Like, I like those closed universe events for those kind of reasons. I think Schism is going to set up a really, really, really outstanding next couple years of X-Men comics.
But are you not? My feeling is that those Wolverine and the X-Men will run for 20 issues and then they'll recombine them. You don't think that's the case?
We'll have to see.
You don't. I think Wolverine. I think Wolverine takes it.
You think Wolverine takes over all the X-Men?
Yeah, I can see Cyclops.
I need a reason for Cyclops to not be
Cyclops, but you've already said Cyclops. Cyclops has the leadership skills. Wolverine.
I think Cyclops loses people's trust too quickly, and it's because he's not a caring person, and it's never.
He's a sociopath.
It's about results for him. It's never about who's getting hurt.
He's a Republican
because he never gets hurt. Like,
right.
he's not on the front lines anymore.
On Schism he was.
On Schism he was, but like, he sends people out. He gives orders. He tells X-Force, go kill these people.
But that's what Charles Xavier did,
twice,
right?
Yeah, but I mean, but even so far, insofar as the action, if you look at the fight between he and Wolverine closely, Cyclops dodges everything because they're fighting each other and they're fighting a Sentinel at the same time. Wolverine literally gets that Sentinel fist smashed down on top of him.
Yeah.
He's getting all his body and shit ripped off, which is obviously a gimmick because you can do that with Wolverine. It looks cool. It's beautiful. But
that panel
the whole
where
time,
he's like, his face is like just a skull.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
But Cyclops has a ripped shirt.
Yeah.
Like he, so it's not. Yeah, it's not about.
I honestly, I think Jason Aaron was a little forgiving
because Wolverine is a midget and Cyclops has a fucking cannon on his face. Reddit comment of the year.
So I'm curious, as people who don't read the X-Men, what are your thoughts on Schism? Because, like, frankly, I just ate it up. I've been like a kid at Christmas over the past 5 months reading this book. It's been awesome. I've been really stoked about it.
You, me. I'll go.
So are we going DC fan or Avengers fan first?
We'll go DC guy.
DC good.
All right, Tyler, go.
Okay, so Schism to me was very well written. Really liked the story. Characters could have been anybody. This could have been a story about the Avengers. This could have been a story about whatever other teams you Marvel people have. Whatever.
There's lots of them.
Yeah, like big teams. It could have been any team, and it still would have been good, right?
Been
like
written once.
It had,
Civil War.
That was Schism for the Avengers.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So, but it could have been about anybody, and it still would have been good. It's very well written. But because of the stuff that I know about the characters already, see, there it was, the 3-2. Because of the stuff I know about the characters already, I know like the Jean Grey stuff, like when he says that when they're fighting and he's like she never loved you, like that hits home like hard because like especially after reading X-Force, you know how bad Wolverine like was pissed at that point. And the fight wasn't even about like Cyclops, but I mean the fight you said earlier, the fight wasn't about that. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I feel like there's a lot of bad blood between Wolverine and Cyclops just from that situation alone, and then they had this big philosophy schism, where and that kind of good Family Guy reference. You know what I mean? Like it was always there because Wolverine and Cyclops have never had a great relationship because they've always kind of been at odds with each other.
They have the best professional relationship of people who hate each other ever.
Absolutely.
Because in
it's
the
like
first
a Coen Brothers movie.
first
Jim and Dwight.
the first like 4 or 5 pages of Whedon's astonishing X-Men is Scott Summers in bed with Emma Frost and Wolverine perched at the end saying, "So which stage of grieving is this? Denial?"
Yeah.
Like he never lets it go.
He doesn't. And Wolverine also never really gets the hot mutant girl either, which is kind of upsetting. Because Cyclops' power kind of sucks, right? I mean, it's an okay power.
From a personal standpoint, I think in a power
great.
set, I think it's great. I think is like
it's
an
existential.
As an existential thing, I think it's sort of a problem.
But like Wolverine's power, fucking awesome. Like, wouldn't you love to just be able to do whatever and regenerate? That'd be awesome. I think, like, claws aside, just having regeneration would be fucking the shit, right? Like, you just be like walking around and be like, I don't care. Like, I'll do whatever I want because I'm just gonna regenerate. It's gonna be fine.
Well, I think that's the poetry of the two of them. Is like you're saying, Wolverine, his power is he can literally just keep going.
Just take damage, and Cyclops can deal a great deal of damage.
But also, Cyclops' power paints him as someone who can only see through this.
Oh.
He can only see through that visor.
God damn.
Yeah, it's poetry.
Holy
it's poetry.
Shit. That just got real. Yeah,
everything is red to him.
Whoa. Dude, you just blew my mind.
No, I mean, but
I'm
really,
not joking.
Like since he was 13, he has never seen color.
Yeah. Because his eyes are a portal into another dimension, right?
Well, no, because he wears the red.
Have you guys
glasses.
not heard that?
What?
That his eyes are actually a portal into another dimension.
Yeah, the dimension of Mephisto.
The punch dimension. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then like he just controls the intensity of the stuff coming out of the punch dimension, which means there's somebody in the punch dimension with white eyes that's like has sunlight coming through him
all the time.
That sucks. He's just like, oh, I got sunlight, and they're like, it's lame. Anyway, so but yeah, Schism. Great. If you haven't read it, go get it. And if you haven't read it and are listening to this, it's peculiar. But I thought it's great. It's a great way to jump on, and it's a very well done crossover event.
I agree.
Even if it's not technically a crossover event because it's just a single universe.
Well,
but
the Avengers get involved for a little bit.
That's true.
It's just never referenced to in the Avengers.
But it's a very, very well done way to jump into a universe before the universe resets, basically. Because Uncanny X-Force is going one more, 544, and then one in November. And then X-Men, is that continuing?
The only one that's resetting is Uncanny X-Men.
I know, but are they getting rid of that book? Or
no, X-Men will continue. The first revealed character of X-Men, it's not, was Vampire Jubilee.
Who cares?
That's why I only read so many X-Books.
I really enjoyed it. The art was great.
Yeah.
Story was great. The Jen Hope tie-ins were really good. They made sense. You don't have to read them, but they enhance the story well enough to make it make sense.
It's good supplemental material.
It's great supplemental, and that's the to me is the 3-2. And that to me is the way that you know that your single shot story arc has been a success if there are supplements is that you can read it without the supplements and it still makes total sense and is very good.
By the way, a one shot is
a single issue.
One single issue.
Yeah, it's like a one story arc, like a 5-issue story arc is what I mean.
Like Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right.
Was a one shot.
Or Hawkeye, Ultimate's Hawkeye, one shot.
Really?
It's one shot.
Damn it. Oh, bummer. Yeah.
Is it a one? It's either a one shot or a 3. I don't remember. I think it's one shot. Anyway, but so it does what it sets out to do. It does it well. I really enjoyed it. I'll probably pull Uncanny X-Men afterwards, just because you guys are both Wolverine guys, and I don't have allegiance to either one of them. I don't care. But I can see myself not pulling it for long. I can see myself reading it and being like, I'm bored. Because my problem with it is there's too many mutants. Same reason I don't read Green Lantern Corps. It's too many Green Lanterns.
Well, and I will say this about Uncanny X-Men specifically. Gillen, the guy who's writing it, fucking great.
Yeah, I read the .1, and it's really good. But it's too many people for me to understand and care about. It's like all the Legion books.
Well, it's there are a lot of characters, but there's only so many core characters. Like, there's only so many that you're going to interact with on a regular basis that you really get to know. And frankly, if you watch the cartoon, you've met them.
Link, you read Schism.
You read all of Schism now.
You read Schism.
Yeah. As the Avengers man.
Yeah, Avengers
what do you
man.
think?
I'm going to agree with both of you. I thought it was great. Oh, shut the fuck.
Nah, we need Jason for that.
I really liked it. Something that keeps popping up to me though, because Mills, you went off and you did a good job. And you said, and we even talked. You said a lot of what I was thinking, but my big question about the whole thing is the villains. Did we just fight kids? Did we just fight children? I mean, smart children, but like.
It's true.
Yeah,
totally true.
I did a really sarcastic thumbs up.
You
by
forget,
the way.
but like one of the I think the only problem I had with it, you forget that that's who the villain is.
Yeah, well, I mean, because of the big
because they're not,
yeah,
because like it took so long for them to put 4 out, and then they're suddenly fighting this Sentinel, and you're like, oh, a Sentinel, but you don't remember that it was like a little kid with a suitcase that made the Sentinel.
Yeah, I read 4 and 5 today, and Thomas goes, "Wait, did you reread 3?" I was like, "Well, no." He's
it's
like,
really important.
Read the end of 3. I was like,
yeah.
But he caught me up to speed because
I forgot. And then at the end,
at
the end of 5, it was like the new Hellfire Club sitting around drinking what looked like champagne at 8 years old.
I'm thinking pina colada.
You think
it's pina colada?
Virgin colada.
I'm thinking it was
Virgin colada, no rum.
It was Welch's sparkling grape juice.
Now, if Thomas made it, it would be a roofie colada. Because
oh yeah,
I get it.
So
yeah, but
he likes to rape children.
They're children.
We can edit that out.
Cut.
So the Hellfire Club.
3-2.
The Hellfire Club is dead. Long live the Hellfire Club.
3-2.
The Hellfire Club is dead. Long live the Hellfire Club. It was the last thing that happened.
Yeah, that was a good line.
Great ending because that's who that's got to be the overarching villain for the entire universe now.
The Hellfire Club?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they've kind of always been the.
I know, but
villain.
they've now like Wolverine and the X-Men and Wolverine and his X-Men or whatever they're going to call it, and Uncanny X-Men now have to both fight them, right? That's like going to be a thing that they both fight. Or Wolverine and they're just going to be like, we're rebuilding the thing. We can't really do it.
The Hellfire Club is specifically most concerned with just ending mutant kind.
Yeah, like in general. But
they're like the purifiers, but without being all crazy religious.
But isn't that like a really easy way for the 2 books to recombine?
Yes,
I think so.
Like that's
common enemy, and that makes perfect.
It's gonna be like It's gonna be like X2, X-Men United.com. Link, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I also I guess getting a little more detail oriented. The 3-2. The Hellfire Club was really good, but also a little like, are we fighting kids? I thought the Sentinel, I thought that was beautiful.
The suitcase
and, like,
Sentinel, fucking awesome.
Airborne computer program that magnetizes everything, every metal around it, and turns it into a Sentinel.
So cool.
I love, as I gave it shit earlier, but I love Wolverine gimmicks. I love when he gets his shit ripped off, or I love it when he gets pounded by the fist of the Sentinel and rips himself out of the fist. I did also love, I guess I'm going panel by panel, I loved
you just read it.
Cyclops off the Isle of Utopia blasting an entire shoulder out of that
when
Sentinel.
he goes full blast.
That was
awesome.
and he's like sweating and crying.
Yeah.
Now I did notice
great.
that he goes full blast on Wolverine at one point.
Yeah, that's what happens to his face.
Oh, it took him a couple panels for his face to get ripped off.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was happening as much from the Sentinel as from Cyclops. But really, we all agree it was beautiful. It was wonderful.
Everything I wanted.
I was not expecting anything from it, and it delivered.
And a wonderful, and again, a wonderful jumping off point from somebody who's jumping off with it, who's using it and Fear itself, Uncanny X-Men, just because the whole Cyclops thing, or not Cyclops, Colossus.
Fear itself.
Colossus is the Juggernaut. No, he's so sexy.
Did you guys ever read Fear itself?
Shut the fuck
really,
up.
I really liked it. Fear itself.
Let's talk about the New 52. This is a hot topic in the comic book world right now. In that DC has rebooted all of their major titles.
Not rebooted.
Not rebooted. Renumbered.
Rebooted some. Renumbered all.
Right. So everything begins at issue 1 because Barry Allen punched himself in the face.
Yes, that's true. Flashpoint happened, which was basically the jumping off point for everything you know is going to change in a flash. That was the big thing. And I love fucking love the Flash.
Fuck Barry Allen.
Fuck you, man. The Flash is awesome.
Not even on your birthday,
God
Tyler.
Damn it, Flash is so good. So it started with Flashpoint. Flashpoint's basically a story about
Cliff notes on that one.
Yeah. Flashpoint, basically, the reason why Flashpoint happened was so that Barry Allen could go back in time and punch himself in the face to stop him from saving his mother, which was apparently the event that split the DC universe asunder to begin with. The reason they did Flashpoint was to renumber all of their comic books so they could basically take the ones whose continuity didn't make any sense and totally restart them over so they didn't have to worry about it anymore. And the ones that were working, you get a good jumping off point so you don't have to understand all the mythology that goes around with them, like the Green Lantern. It's a great example. You don't have to know anything. You can read the Green Lantern. If you know all about it, it's great because it makes more sense, but you don't have to. So there's if you don't know about it, then I don't know why you're listening to this. If you don't know about it, fuck you, because DC is where it's at. Marvel can suck a dick.
Probably Comics in no way endorses the dick sucking
of Marvel. So we're gonna talk about. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's basically over. We're in week 1 now of the second month. So I wish that had been the cover art for Green Lantern 1, but it wasn't. So we're going to talk about what we liked, what we thought worked, what was shit. I want to say that I've read the most of the books. Is that correct?
Definitely more than me.
Okay.
Yeah, you've read the most. I've probably read the second most.
I read Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So bring us to the top there, Tom Malicious.
Are we going to go through all of them?
I mean, quick.
Let's just rapid fire all of them.
Okay, Justice League number 1.
Great.
Cool. Awesome.
Wonder Woman number 1.
Great.
Didn't read it, but I want to.
Aquaman number 1.
Fucking amazing.
I heard it was great. Jeff Johns seems pretty cool.
Maybe the best book of the New 52.
Come on.
What?
Overaction?
Yeah.
Overaction?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, wait, hold on. We're not done yet. The Flash number 1.
Great.
The Fury of Firestorm.
Didn't read it.
Okay.
The Savage Hawkman.
Didn't read it.
Green Arrow.
Awful.
Terrible. Okay.
Justice League International.
Awful.
Mr. Terrific.
Didn't read it.
I've always liked the idea of Mr. Terrific.
Me too.
Though.
They failed.
What a faggoty name. Captain Atom.
The third smartest man in the world, Thomas. It's the third smartest.
Third smartest.
Who, Mr. Terrific?
Yeah, he's the third smartest.
Third smartest man. Like, that's the...
Why? Because he'll never be Adrian Veidt?
All right, Captain Atom.
I didn't read it.
I read it. Not bad.
DC Universe Presents number 1.
Couldn't finish it.
Oh, really?
Could not finish
it. Okay, I like Dead Man.
I like Dead Man too. Couldn't finish it. But wait, we'll talk about Dead Man later.
Green Lantern number 1.
Fucking
neat.
Great.
Fucking neat.
I loved it.
Just the idea that when you say Green Lantern, that's Sinestro.
It's Sinestro now?
That's not Hal Jordan, Kyle Rayner. It's not
it
a human.
It will be Hal Jordan.
Oh, well, of course.
But Sinestro's Green Lantern. Love it. Can't wait for next week.
Okay.
Green Lantern Corps.
Didn't read it.
Did not finish it. Couldn't finish it.
Green Lantern New Guardians.
Loved it.
Loved it.
Not a fan. Red Lanterns number 1.
Did not like it.
I like. We're split on this one. I like it a lot.
Not sure why.
I mean, it's just different. I like.
Yeah, but
I like that Atrocitus. He's got this idea of justice.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense for the character. Well, we can talk about it later.
Yeah. So right now we're just rapid firing.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on to discussion.
Go.
Sorry.
Batman number 1.
Best Bat book. Best Gotham book by far.
It was
Detective
great.
number
Liked
one.
it a lot.
Detective number one's great.
Wonderful.
Close second, but Batman number one's still better.
Yeah,
Batman and Robin.
Not good.
didn't even read it.
Batman: The Dark Knight.
Awful. Was the worst. One of the worst
read it.
books of the New 52.
All right. Birds of Prey.
It was all right.
What is Birds of Prey?
Yeah,
They're Gotham City's covert ops team taking down villains other
Sexy
heroes can't
ladies.
touch. It's a bunch of sexy ladies fighting crime.
It's like female X-Force.
Right.
Sort of, actually. Yeah, that's not bad.
Catwoman. Highly controversial.
Not sure what the controversy was all about. Not
It's
that great of a book.
I think it's because she's a slut.
Well, she's always been a slut.
She just wanted to bang.
No,
Batman.
she's just been sexy and like lustful
But
after
that's Selena Kyle, though. That's her MO.
Yeah, but not that she just like bones Batman all
This
the
panel
goddamn
that
time.
She does bone Batman all the goddamn time. That's
you
like
know
a
they
thing.
Fuck. You know.
Batgirl number one.
All right.
Glad it's Barbara.
Batwoman.
It was okay. Not sure what the hype is about.
Because everyone seems really excited
Everyone's
about it.
really excited about it and don't get it.
Okay, Nightwing.
It was okay.
Didn't read it. Sorry.
Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Not good. Just read it.
Which
Not-
bums me out because
Yeah.
I wanted Jason Todd. Go ahead.
It's not
Sorry.
good.
Batwing.
Awful.
Not Black Panther.
Bat
Swamp
Panther.
Thing.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Life changing.
So great. Oh my god. Animal Man number one.
Fucking
Double life changing.
rules it.
Life changing, but in a completely different way.
Double like until
Get it?
until Aquaman, Animal Man for sure was my number one book
Yeah.
from the New
God, it was
52.
gorgeous.
All right. Justice League Dark.
Great.
Didn't read
Like surprisingly great. It was like it's the best group origin story I've ever read. It's very good. And John Constantine is a member.
I like John
I
Constantine.
do too. And Deadman.
I know Kung Fu.
Demon Knights.
Didn't read it.
Frankenstein, Agent
Oy
of Shade.
How is the guy that's writing Animal Man also writing Frankenstein, Agent of Shade?
I think we could dedicate like 2 hours to hating on that book.
And Sweet Tooth. Like every book he's writing is great. And then Frankenstein, Agent, shut the fuck up.
Resurrection Man.
Surprisingly very good. I'm pulling it. It's that good.
Really?
Yeah.
You seemed very.
I was on the fence
iffy.
about it, but I've read it. I've since reread it. It's very good.
Did you read it, Link?
Nay.
It's a very interesting premise. I love it.
I Vampire.
It's Twilight. With the other
So
both of-
terrible.
yeah, it's Twilight with both of them as vampires starting out. It's not good.
Okay, Voodoo.
Not good.
Legion Lost.
Didn't read it.
Legion of Superheroes.
Didn't read it.
Teen Titans.
Good.
Amazing.
Really?
good.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Great.
I like
And
the
once you
new
get-
Wonder Girl.
Once you get low into the the S's, we'll talk about why it's great. But
Static Shock.
no.
It's my inner child.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon.
Teen
it's
Titans
a
is
cartoon that I can read once a month.
We'll talk about why it's great here in just a second.
Static Shock.
Didn't read it.
Link?
No, that's what I'm saying. Static Shock.
Oh,
is
Static Shock.
is a cartoon I can read once a month.
Okay, Hawk and Dove.
Oh my god. I don't think anybody likes this book. I don't even think that whoever the dumbass that wrote it, like
Sterling
Rob
Gates.
Liefeld or Liefeld or however you want to pronounce his name is notorious for bad comic book art.
Yeah,
And
it's true.
And it doesn't work.
It looks very Marvel, especially with the big white eyes on Dove.
It's awful.
She looks like Spider Girl, like Spider Woman.
No, the art is bad. He can't draw.
Stormwatch.
Did not read it.
Blackhawks.
I did not read it.
Heard it was pretty good on the internet. Sergeant Rock and the Men of War.
I did not read it, but I heard it was not good.
All-Star Western.
Very wordy.
Deathstroke.
I did not read it.
God, I kind of want to.
Wait, is Deathstroke Slade Wilson? Is that the
Yes.
same?
Oh no, I did read this, and it's not good.
It seems like Deadpool without the funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
You
move
don't
on to
need the
something I
bourbon.
know that Tyler's going to have a lot of great things to say about. Grifter number one.
Oh.
Yeah, you said
Man.
you liked that a lot.
Grifter
I
number one.
want so badly to find it because I
Holy
loved
shit.
Wildcats. I loved Wildcats.
Oh, that's where I recognize.
Did
his
you
ass
guys? Did
from.
either of you guys? That's where Voodoo's from too. Did either of you guys watch Lost?
Mhm.
You did.
Oh,
I
wait,
tried.
the television program.
Yeah.
A wee bit.
Okay. You know who Sawyer is?
You all, everybody. Yeah.
That's not him. That's Charlie.
No, I know.
Okay. Sawyer. It's Grifter. That's his character. Is Sawyer from Lost.
You mean they're a lot.
Yeah,
alike.
like he's a good-looking guy with like shaggy blonde hair that's a con artist,
Oh yeah.
and it's Sawyer. But then he puts
But
on
he's
that
good
mask.
at heart.
Yeah, he puts on that mask, and it's going to be great. I'm excited about it.
OMAC.
Stupid. Like I don't even understand what this book was about.
Suicide Squad.
It was all right.
Link.
Nothing.
I
Did you
think
read
that Harley Quinn looks super hot on the cover.
Is that Harley Quinn?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
fuck
geez.
yeah.
Did you
it
read
is.
it, Link?
No, I didn't.
They turned her
I
into
will-
a
yeah,
super
you-
sexy
God, you've read
prostitute.
Way a bunch.
It
of
was
these.
Suicide Squad. I read it because it's a Gotham book, and I wanted to
Okay.
make sure I read
All
all
the
the Gotham
Gothams.
books. But Suicide Squad was okay. There's nothing like unless you just are. If you're into like Invader Zim, I feel like you'll like it.
Blue Beetle.
Great,
Mad at myself for not reading it.
surprisingly great. Like it got a lot of flack for being like almost
Beetle?
racist because it's a Mexican guy.
Yeah, Jaime Reyes
Yeah,
is his name.
it's it got a lot of flack because it's a white dude trying to write Mexicans speaking. But I mean, it was all right. I didn't care.
What I want to see is
But you're white.
why hasn't Blue Beetle a Blue Lantern? Honestly, like
I could explain that, but it's going to take too long for this
Okay,
segment. Let's
cool.
Action Comics.
go.
Awesome.
Fucking great.
incredible. Just
The Superbook. The Superbook.
oh, I mean,
Action
easy,
Comics, yeah.
easy.
Superman, the Man of Tomorrow.
Didn't
Supergirl #1.
Not bad.
read it.
It was okay.
And Superboy #1.
This is the surprise
Daddy like.
of the new 52.
Yeah, really, really good, and it's going to tie in with
good.
Titans.
Oh
as
my
well.
god! And that's what I was talking about
Yeah.
when it like the way that it's tying in with Teen Titans, fucking amazing.
Really
like the
like
last panel of Teen Titans and the last panel of Superboy are basically the same, and it's gonna be amazing. And like the Superboy's origin story that he's a clone, but you don't know who his human the human part of him is.
You do know who it is.
Who do you think it is?
Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's
what
what
I
he
said.
was saying. He said it's got to be Lex Luthor.
I mean,
gotta be Lex Luthor.
that's canon.
Yeah.
It is Lex Luthor.
Well, yeah, but not necessarily. Here, they could totally change that on
I
its
mean,
head.
of course, for the record, this
But
is
it's-
all hearsay. But dude, it's totally.
It's
fucking
Kal
Lex
El.
Luthor.
It's Kal El and Lex Luthor for sure.
Yeah.
But it's
What about Jor, huh?
Jor's dead, bro.
Jor.
You're
yeah.
dead, bro.
Yeah, fine. You get me a piece of Jor-El's DNA.
Yeah, Krypton blew up, dog.
Speaking of Superman,
Yeah,
can I make a transition?
come towards the mic. Yes.
Swamp Thing.
Okay. So anyway, so Swamp Thing. Thomas,
But-
you love it.
Oh man. Okay, so here's the thing about Swamp Thing,
You
right?
read too?
Yes.
Okay.
I love the Alan Moore run of Swamp Thing with all of my being, including my PP. Like,
I've never read it.
oh, it's fucking heresy.
Nor has Link.
I hate myself, but I've never read it.
If Barnes and Noble were being such a dick about the DC books,
Did
I
they
would
pull
say
Swamp Thing off?
fuck if I know. They pulled over 100 books off, so probably.
I guarantee you.
Did someone
King's
incredible
got it.
write it?
Amazon's got it too.
But it's oh my sweet Jesus! They did things with Swamp Thing. Like, Alan Moore did things with Swamp Thing that no one had ever thought to do before. It's the first time that like he literally in his first like 3 issues of Swamp Thing, someone kills Swamp Thing, freezes him, and takes him to a lab and dissects him, and he's got organs inside of him that do absolutely fucking.
Did that
nothing.
take place at the same time as Grant Morrison's Animal Man run?
I have no idea.
Was it like the late 80s?
It's
do
mid
you
to
think
late 80s.
Yeah.
Moore and Morrison hang out on the weekends and talk about
Yeah.
how they're going to.
I don't think Alan Moore
shit.
hangs out with anyone. I think he like trips acid.
beard.
Yeah, he trips acid, lives in a cave, and worships a lizard, and writes amazing comic books somehow.
Yes, he does.
That one episode of South Park where God's a lizard.
Basically, he's the one who explores the idea that Swamp Thing isn't Alec Holland. That's where that
Right.
idea originates, and this whole run that Scott Snyder's doing really harkens back to this Alan Moore idea of what Alan Moore did to make it a horror book, to make it scary, and most of it is these crazy trippy ass dream sequences
In the
where-
Moore run?
in the Alan Moore run.
Yeah.
It's like Swamp Thing rooting himself into the swamp because he's discovered that he's not human. There's nothing remotely human about him.
There's
He
no
doesn't
red.
breathe. He doesn't eat. Yeah, there's no red.
He's
It's
got no
all
red. He's all
green.
green.
And so Scott Snyder has taken it upon himself to explain why that is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that when Alec Holland died in the explosion, where he was trying to create the formula to basically like grow whatever you wanted in the fucking desert.
Have you not read it?
I've read one.
But I
Okay.
mean, like, are you big on like Swamp Thing canon? Like, do you know anything about the origin story?
No, I haven't read that.
So here's for those of you that don't know, because Swamp Thing is sort of like a fringe character in mainstream comics.
He was a Vertigo until this reboot, right?
Well, and he was DC before that, and then they moved him to Vertigo, and then
Okay.
moved him back at Brightest Day. Because he's the bad guy in
You want
Brightest
one?
Day, isn't
Yeah,
he?
you can have one.
He's the bad guy in
Yes.
Brightest Day.
He
yeah?
he gets possessed by the bad guy in Brightest Day, yeah.
Right, the Swamp Thing, whatever it may be at that point. So the origin story is basically that Alec Holland is working on this formula that will allow people to grow vegetation in areas that are completely inhospitable to green life. So, like, in Saudi Arabia you can grow corn. Is sort of what he's working on. It's this formula that he's working on. It's some mystical chemical formula that only exists in comic book land, where you pour a liquid on the ground and you can grow like whatever.
Isn't that the beginning of the Left Behind series?
Never read it.
It is. Go ahead.
Is it really?
Go ahead.
Anyway, so
we're not talking about Left
while working on this formula, there is a huge explosion in the lab. Alec Holland is killed in the explosion. His body is cast into the swamp, and in theory, around that carcass, and his soul is sort of absorbed into the green.
Not killed. The story is that you have to be at the end when your life is ending, but not yet ended.
Right.
That's what he says, right?
Yeah. Sort of, I guess.
Because the Swamp Thing that we're watching in Swamp Thing is the guy from the World War II.
Right. So it's and even then, and we'll get into that later.
Okay.
This is just Alec Holland, Swamp Thing. Here's your origin story. Yeah. So, and then he has his business partner, bad guy. He's sort of like a Justin Hammer character. He's big pharma, I guess, to Alec Holland's independent scientist trying to do good for the world, and Arcane's all, I want to make some money off of these fucking poor people that can't eat. And I'm like, how? They don't have any money. And somehow they find a way, I guess. But so
Greed will find
his body is cast into the swamp, and the next thing he knows, he emerges as the Swamp Thing. And Moore basically explains that there is nothing human about the Swamp Thing. They biologically, he has organs that resemble human organs but serve zero function. They are mimicked, essentially. And so Swamp Thing has this big existential breakdown. Am I human? Am I plant? He roots himself for a while and just becomes part of the green.
Int.
Right. But without the movement and the slow talking. Yeah. He's just fucking plant in the swamp. And so in issues 1 and 2, Superman comes back and is like, yo, Swamp Thing.
Yo, Alec Holland.
Yeah, he's like, yo, Alec, what are you doing at this construction site? We need Swamp Thing.
And the dude's like, what?
And he's like, I have these crazy memories about being a Swamp Thing.
But I ain't that guy.
Yeah.
But that's all I know. All I know is I died 6 months ago, and
now I'm not
here
dead.
I am,
Yeah.
and I couldn't tell you. And so in issue 2, they go into sort of
Spoiler alert.
Scott Snyder basically explains Alec Holland not actually being the Swamp Thing, that his body was too disfigured, he was too dead.
And they
Can I
tried
borrow
to
that
clone
from
him.
you tonight?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And the green
and
basically
so,
tries to clone him.
Yeah, the green clones him
Cool.
and basically absorbs his consciousness for a little bit.
But that also means that there's no red.
Right,
and
the
person
strongest Swamp Things
has to
have the
red.
red.
Yeah.
The red and the green
From Animal Man.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I understand what the red is, but so for Swamp Thing to be the strongest, he has to have red.
Yeah.
Right. At his core, he must be
yin-yang
red.
ba-
It's a
balance
yin yang
sort of
thing.
He can harness the power of
Of
both
both.
green and red to fight a huge problem.
Yeah. Here's long story short about Swamp Thing. Here's the deal. I absolutely love how Scott Snyder is doing nothing but going out of his way to justify the Alan Moore canon.
Mm-hmm.
It is 100% fan service.
Yeah.
That book is just, it's pure Scott Snyder being like, I love
great.
Swamp Thing. I love Alan Moore's run of Swamp Thing. That's all I want, is to do something that people will talk about one day as being as good as his.
It's great.
And frankly, if he keeps this up, he will succeed. I was a little hesitant at first about Superman being in the first issue, but I love the reason that he's there. And frankly, Scott Snyder writes a really good Superman.
No one else.
Yeah,
would
he
have worked.
does. He writes
actually
writes a
writes-
great Batman too. That's who's doing Batman this time.
Really, he's
Yeah.
doing the
Scott
OG
Snyder's
Batman.
doing OG Batman. And
He was a nobody until this reboot, basically.
well, because Jeff Johns consulted with him about Swamp Thing on Brightest Day.
Oh, really? Because he's basically like the Ed Brubaker of Swamp Thing.
Yes.
Ed Brubaker is to Cap America what
That's
this
right.
guy is to Swamp Thing.
That's exactly right. Sorry.
So let's talk about Animal Man.
Yeah, let's keep on the New 52. Animal Man.
Swamp,
Go.
Yeah, Swamp Thing. You
'Cause I
can't talk
honestly
about Swamp Thing without talking about Animal
still
Man.
haven't
I'm so
read-
confused.
Still haven't read Animal Man yet, but I need to
really
because there's gonna
recommend
be a
it.
crossover. I just know
There'll
it.
be a crossover in the next 4 issues.
Can we
The
call
red and the
can we
red and the
call
green.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
on it?
absolutely.
Just hope you'll be okay.
whatever. If you're listening to a comic podcast,
No,
you're
we're talking
asking
about
for
you
it.
because you haven't read it.
You personally.
I will read it whether you talk about it or not.
It's gonna they're fighting, as far as I can tell, they're about to fight a common enemy. Doesn't it seem that way to you?
I think so.
And they're because
they're both.
because you've read issue 1 and 2 of both, haven't
Yes.
you?
I've not read.
Do you have issue 1 and 2 of both?
yes,
Can I borrow them?
I do. Yes,
I do.
Okay.
If you don't.
yeah, I have the reissue of one. I didn't get a real one.
Well, I would feel less bad about borrowing that. Then.
Yeah. So Animal Man is like Swamp Thing is almost a straight up horror book.
Yeah.
Animal
Totally.
Man bridges.
Psychological, man. So
God,
fucking
Animal Man
psychological.
bridges the gap between superhero and horror book better than anything I've ever seen. Animal Man is above and beyond, like way, like it's not even in the same ballpark as these other books. Like the way that it's put together.
I mean, and specifically, if art wise.
oh my God, Travel Foreman, his art is amazing.
Well, and this may be pretentious to me, and granted, I haven't read Animal Man, but I feel like that Animal Man and the Swamp Thing are two characters that are above and beyond the Justice League in terms of quality of the character.
Well,
Does that make sense?
What do you
Like,
mean?
I think that their stories offer a higher potential for depth without
Yeah.
it being the gimmick of it being
Absolutely.
the superhero
Yes.
comic. They're not bound by
So,
that genre.
Let me tell you this: in Animal Man 1, Travel Foreman does the art at the beginning when the story is not very convoluted, not a lot of going on. The art is very simplistic. It's not poorly done. It's just well drawn, but not a lot of clean lines, a lot of like good coloring, nothing major. As the book progresses and the plot gets more and more like fucked up, the art also progresses and gets better and better as the book goes.
Do the frames in the comic do the same thing that they do in Swamp Thing, where like Swamp Thing literally looks like there's tree branches between the comic book
Yeah.
frames,
It does.
and I
It does.
love that
it goes,
shit.
It does kind of go diagonal, as opposed to a
Yeah.
top and bottom
And
sort
it's
of thing.
it's so
This
Katie.
room just got prettier.
It's so super
Hello, Kitty.
it's so reminiscent, like, to me. I know I'm harping on this, but the Alan Moore run of Swamp Thing, that's the first time that I saw that done in a comic, is in that run where, and I mean, it's like the fucking 80s, and they're just doing frames all over the place and
Yeah.
splitting them up in all kinds of crazy ways, and
Animal
it's like
Man's,
vines.
no, Travel Foreman's a little bit more put together than that.
No, I don't think, you said you're hyping on it. I mean, let's be honest. Both, I think you said, actually it was you, Thomas, that said that this is fan service on Swamp Thing. I think it absolutely is the same thing
On the
in
Grant
Animal
Moore for the
Man.
Grant Morrison run. of
Yeah,
Animal
yeah.
Man?
It's just homage to
Yeah.
two incredible books.
But
And
the thing is, like, we're getting Buddy, like at the beginning of the first page of Animal Man is a prose piece, and it's an interview with the newspaper. And read that interview, and you know everything you need to know about Buddy Baker and Animal Man. You never have to have read anything else. It's the most brilliant piece of prose I've ever seen in a comic book.
Well, and
It's
Swamp Thing
genius.
does the same thing. That whole conversation with
Yeah.
Superman outlines everything
Exactly.
that really you need to know about Swamp
Exactly.
Thing. It's
Except
not
for
the
this is
detailed
just
version.
like a picture of a newspaper, and you just read it.
and how
It's
Alan Moore.
Brilliant. And so like, but
I love that kind of
but
shit.
it's not about Animal Man. Like Animal Man, yes, he has powers, and yes, he can go do things about stuff, but it has nothing to do with that at all. Like it's about his family and how like his son is kind of a dick with a mullet.
a terrible mullet.
And his wife is like really frustrated with him because he's a superhero and she didn't sign up for this or whatever. And then we find out that his daughter
Breakout character of the New 52.
is
to me,
his daughter.
yes.
Absolutely.
Is she connected
She
to
has.
the red?
Yes, she
She's
is
fully connected to the red.
She is probably. Actually, he even says this. She is more connected than he is.
Yeah, she's more
She
connected
is
to the red than he
So
is.
deeper than he is.
she's gonna be like a Franklin Richards kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
The last frame of Animal Man 1 is her having brought back like 4 or 5 dead pets to play with.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Like
yeah,
that's
from
'cause-
bone. Like they're
like
all
bones.
boned out.
yeah. And Animal Man like comes out and they're like, what the fuck?
What the
and
fuck?
that's the end of the book. And then like and then the second book he
But
like
is she like playing with like the bones or like actively
they're
moving? and stuff?
pets.
like
And
she just thinks it's like because she wanted a pet.
And that's why
animal and Barry said and Buddy said she couldn't have one because they can't have animals in the house because he's too connected with them.
So
and
she went and got
she
dead
went and
ones.
fucking like resurrected a bunch of dead ones. Like it's oh god damn
Well,
it.
and that's what's great about the writing in this book is because she is super powerful
and he's
super
mastered
intense,
the page turn.
super
Mastered the page turn.
That's okay. Can I say this about the New 52?
Yeah.
Worst, like Swamp Thing was ruined by the ads. Now, Marvel's really good about generally like in the very, 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 very middle.
A lot of ads in the DC.
You get that like 2-page spread of
Your-
Captain America on
Captain
some
America
mints.
bubblegum.
Yeah, or whatever.
Yeah,
You know, like
in
the
DC, you'll be
Eclipse
like
Captain
turn
America
it, and it's
ad.
like Big Bang Theory now on.
And
God damn it!
And then
And
you
I'm just
turn
like,
it like
damn
it's
it,
literally
Sheldon.
like
Yeah.
it seems like only the left page has content on it.
Yeah.
When you're reading a DC book, and I know this is a side tangent, but like, God damn it, I really wanted to read
it's
Swamp Thing, and DC just really didn't want to let me.
But yeah, that's true. But Animal Man. So Animal Man like ends. Okay, we'll wrap it up. So Animal Man ends that way. Animal Man 2 starts, and basically the daughter is being extremely cryptic about what she knows because she may or may not understand. And like
She's very young, yeah.
Yeah, and so she's basically
yeah.
like we have to go to the red.
We call him. I'd call her 8, maybe 9.
Right, and they
Like
have
the
to enter. They have
oldest.
to enter the red so that they can fight this thing that's like taken over, like 3 things that are like taking over these people, and it's fucked up. But they travel to find the red, and it's in a tree.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of Swamp Thing Animal Man crossover coming, and it's going to be great.
Thanks for listening. This has been Probably Comics. I'm Thomas, and you can follow me on Twitter at Uncanny Tom. That's Tom spelled THOM.
And I'm Tyler. You can follow me on Twitter at DTMills.
And I'm Link. You can follow me on Twitter at LinkZ, then the number 2.
And if you want to follow the show on Twitter, we're at Probably Comics. And you can check us out at probablycomics.com.